Commissioners to order. Pledge of allegiance followed by invocation by Commissioner Davey Jones. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Yesterday, we had the promise of the future because when Mary and Mary Magdalene went to view Jesus' body, they were told he is not here, he has risen. That gives us the promise of the future, and it's better stated than I can in Romans chapter 15, verse 13, when it says, "May the God of hope fill you with the joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope and with the power of the Holy Spirit." Father, as we come today, we just give you thanks for this time, for your blessing upon this meeting. We give you thanks for continuing to give blessings to those of us in Finney County tonight. And today, as we conduct the county's business, we'd ask for your presence, we'd ask for your wisdom, and we give you that thanks today in Jesus' name. Amen.
Good morning, everyone, and our agenda starts with chair comments, and this morning I defer to Vice Chairman of the Finney County Commission, Mr. Larry Jones.
Well, as we all know, today is April 1st, and this is not an April Fool's joke. We have a very special birthday coming up, and I think we all need to sing Dave Jones, happy birthday.
Commissioner Drees.
Are you all ready?
You're ready. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dave. Happy birthday to you.
Can the record reflect that vote was 4-1?
Hey, it beats
Thanks.
alternative, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday, Davey. All right, turning our attention to our agenda, we have a consent agenda. Commissioners?
Move we approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This morning, we have an opportunity for public comment. Is there anyone wishing to address the commission? And my mic is so hot, I get to sit all the way back here today.
It's ringing pretty good.
It is. I apologize for that, but all I did was push the green button and away it went. No public comment this morning, then we'll ask the administrator, was there a change that we needed to make to the agenda, or is the agenda as published late satisfactory today?
As published late, yes, there was a little bit of confusion on the architectural agreement, but that has been fixed.
All right, very good.
And Mr. Chairman, I would ask that we add an executive session to our agenda today.
We'll do that at the end. That executive session will be for attorney-client privileged matters with the commission, and we'll get to that at the end. Turning now to our business items. We have city planner. Please announce yourself for the viewing public.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I'm Dante Thompson, a planner with Neighborhood Development. I am filling in for John today. And Prostake Surveying is requesting to plat the Shuri subdivision. The property is generally located at 2970 North Anderson Road, Finney County, Kansas. The property is currently used as a mobile home park, and the owner is wanting to split off a portion of the property to sell to a family member. Lot 1, Block 1 contains approximately 10 acres, and Lot 2 contains approximately 1.15 acres. The third submittal was presented for review on March 20, 2024, and met requirements. And the Planning Commission recommended approval of the plat on February 15, 2024. There are two alternatives in front of you. The governing body may approve the parcel plat, or the governing body may not approve the parcel plat. And staff recommends alternative 1, approval of the parcel plat. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
All right, commissioners, questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Dante, most often, the recommendations from Planning Commission come to us in unanimous vote. Maybe somebody abstains because of conflict or maybe there's been an absence in the commission. But I noticed that it was 5-1-1. And I scanned I looked at briefly at the minutes, but I wasn't really able to determine what led to the no vote and the abstention in this particular case. So can you explain that for us, please?
Unfortunately, she didn't mention anything at the meeting, either the member who did vote nay. She did second the motion to approve it, though, so to why she voted that way, and then they approved the minutes the next meeting as well, so I couldn't speak to why she voted against it.
And then was there a conflict that led to the abstention?
I would assume there was a conflict. He didn't mention either why he abstained from the vote.
Okay, I was just trying to understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Dante, is this strictly to maybe in future use to break off the residents from the rental side of this property?
I believe so. For right now, it's just to a family member, but in the future, it could be split off from the mobile home park. Yep.
All right, any other questions for the planner? Apologize for my head cold.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve this parcel plat.
Second?
Moved and seconded to approve the parcel plat. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next on our business agenda is from the county administrator on the architect agreement.
Yes, before you have an agreement from HMN Architects. If you recall, they were the one that did the study on the original study on the LEC project. This here is a supplemental agreement, in essence, in concert with what Alan Richardson will be doing with Justice Planners Incorporated. And you see before you the list of scope of services such as site evaluations and remodel concepts and things of that nature within the agreement. Cost of the agreement is $30,000 for consideration.
All right, and the source of funding on this $30,000?
This one here will be coming out of the reserve fund, as well as the fee for Alan Richardson's contract once we receive that, and I have not received that agreement as of yet.
Any other questions for the administrator on the LEC contract for HMN Architects?
Mr. Chairman, mine would only be process. It shows on the contract place for one signature, whether that requires the chairman or we can delegate that to the administrator.
What do you want to do, Commissioner?
For that amount of money and this particular contract, I think it could be delegated.
All right, is there a motion then? Is there any further discussion on the contract of HMN?
I might just comment, this is to keep Sean Harding into the planning of this facility. He did our original law enforcement center plan, so this keeps him involved in the loop, and it's a good motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would submit the motion that we engage HMN, our architect firm, for the price of $30,000 paid from reserves, and we authorize our administrator to sign the agreement.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the HMN agreement for continued services on the LEC remodel or potential detention facility to be paid from reserves in an amount not to exceed $30,000. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our business agenda is the KDOT agreement with regard to the detour reimbursement. Wonderful that the state can keep such an easy agreement to less than 25 pages. Mr. Administrator, can you tell us what this is about?
Kaylee, I'm gonna go ahead and let you, go through this one here, if you don't mind, for us.
Kenneth Jones, Public Works Road and Bridge Operations Coordinator. If you remember when they shut the railroad tracks down on 5400, they used Anderson Road, Jones Avenue as part of the detour. So KDOT we're entering in with an agreement with them to help fund the repairs to Anderson Road and Jones Avenue. The attached agreement is provided for the purpose to ask you to sign this agreement. Staff recommends that you do sign.
What's the total amount of the reimbursement?
Looks like 515,000.
That's about right.
In the administrator's opinion, is that reasonable?
Yes, it is. It won't quite cover all the costs. What we will do is do an overlay project on that, probably a mill and overlay, if I remember correctly, on that project. And we'll have a few add-ons, add some shoulders onto that project as well on
Anderson.
Anderson. So there'll be some additionals to make the repairs complete and the road a little bit wider and safer.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask the county administrator, your recommendation is approval of this contract?
Yes, it is.
So stated in my motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I would second that at a amount of $515,000, and it won't require signature of all commissioners.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the contract as proposed. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Before you leave, with the bridge being torn down, we're gonna have a lot of the same issues. Is this something you always do after the fact to see what the damage was, or can you?
So
Commitment.
on this deal, we've already started working with them as far as making sure that we get some sort of reimbursement from them. We've talked to our engineers about the best way to go about doing this. We could either designate it a haul road, or we can get funding afterwards. And we're still in talks about the best way, what's going to benefit the county the best, which way. So we've already been in contact with KDOT about that, because originally they said the detour went around on the highway through town. They were not willing to do anything for that part. So we put traffic counters up. We had GIS fly it so that we have stats from our end to show the increase in traffic and the wear and tear on the roads.
Appreciate you getting ahead of it. Thank you.
You bet.
All right, don't go very far. You have a large surfacing contract submitted to us for review. Mr. Jones, would you go ahead and describe for us what you want us to approve?
The Board of County Commissioners is asked to authorize the chairman to sign the contract with APAC Kansas Inc. for the 2024 bituminous surfacing project. On November 6th of 23, the Board of Commissioners approved to award the bid for the 24 surfacing project to APAC Kansas Inc. The scope of the project will entail a 2-inch asphalt overlay on West Fork Road from Old Highway 83 to Parallel Road, and a 2-inch mill and overlay on Old 83 and Annie Shear Road for approximately 11.6 miles. The Public Works Department advertised for the 24 project on September 23rd and 30th of 2023. Bids were opened at 10 a.m. on October 23rd at the Public Works office. One bid was received from APAC Kansas Inc. for $3,209,570.69.
The Board of County Commissioners may authorize the chairman to sign the contract with APAC for the 2024 project, or may not authorize the chairman to sign the contract for the 2024 project. Staff recommends alternative 1 for the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the chairman to sign the contract with APAC Kansas Inc. for this project. The fiscal impact will be $3,209,570.69 to be paid out of the Special Highway Fund.
I'd ask that the electronic media staff scroll down to the legend on the work to be done on our screens. Question, thank you. My question is that what we're contracting for is the overlay of the 6 miles on Old Highway 83 and Annie Shear Road, 1.73 miles. The dotted line is the 2-inch overlay for 9.26 miles to the south.
So the dotted line is extended too far. I thought they had that changed, but it will only go the 2 miles from West Sandy Shear Road to West Parallel. West Fork turns into dirt from there south.
All right, that's what I was thinking. And that will allow for the school to be able to have an additional access to a paved road to the west. From school, is down at Plymell.
Yes, sir.
That extends the asphalt down to Plymell there.
No, that map is wrong. I thought we had it corrected, but it will only be the 2 miles from West Sandy Shear to Parallel. So the dotted line from West Parallel Road south should not be on there.
That's all dirt, correct? From
That is, yeah, all sand through there.
Questions for Mr. Jones on this substantial contract work? My question is, when are we going to get over in Mr. Drees' district to the road going north into Lane County, Mennonite Road, the north part of which is having some difficulties putting together?
We're putting together a 10-year project to get all of our roads on a 10-year rotation so that we don't hopefully run into this issue again. But Mennonite Road and also Bigelow Road are both on our immediate radar.
Okay. And our highway reserve fund is what size, Mr. Administrator?
I don't have that information in front of me. If I remember correctly, I believe it was in excess of $5.5 million.
Other questions, Commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, okay, it seems like on a lot of these kind of contracts, we're only getting one bid. And not always APAC, I don't mean that, but is it because other companies are not interested in this area, they're too busy? And I have absolutely no problem with APAC. They do a lot of work. We've had a good experience with them in the past, as far as I'm aware. So it's not anything against APAC. But is there any, and I'm just trying to, for the public, help them understand why we're going with just one bid.
I can't honestly answer that question. I have personal feelings on this one. Why? But because I thought that we would get a couple of bids on this, and I was very surprised when we only got the one.
And from our perspective, from the county's perspective, how many prospects do we think there are for things like this? Are 4 or 5 or?
This one should have at least been, I was expecting 3.
Okay. All right, thank you.
On a cost per mile basis, is this contract similar with respect to prior contracts?
It's higher than normal.
One quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
The millings, do we retain those or do they keep them?
We will, they will haul them back to our Bruno pit.
Yeah, that's a good deal, yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we had an individual that was trying to put some millings on some, I'm gonna say, private road, and he was gonna offer to buy that from the county. Did that get discussed?
We did offer up a discussion with him, and that never went
More
anywhere.
fruit?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks.
All right, other questions for Mr. Jones, or the administrator reference the 2024 surfacing contract as presented? Hearing none, is there?
You're ready for a motion, I'll offer one.
Yes, sir.
To approve the surfacing contract at $3,209,570.69 with APAC, and that the chairman of the board be authorized to sign.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve this contract in the amount stated and for the chair to sign. Is there any further discussion?
Well, and I guess we probably should specify in that motion that it's being funded from the Special Highway Fund.
Is that part of your motion, Commissioner
That'd
Jones?
be great.
And as your second, Commissioner?
Yes, it
Fishman?
is. Yes, it is.
Then we'll take up the vote. If there's not any further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Next on our agenda is a request for a remount of vehicles. And Skylar, please state your name for those viewing, please.
I'm Skylar Storage, Director of Finney County EMS. So here, a request for you here today is to remount one of our ambulances. We are on the schedule for it, and within Osage, in order to continue to standardize and modernize our fleet, we're requesting this remount. If we do not exercise this option now, then our next available unit will be in 2027. That we'll be able to buy to get anything. And additionally, the Osage is averaged out what they anticipate the cost to be, the increase in cost to be about 8 to 9% per year, and that's just kind of an average of what they expect from acquiring new chassis and to the other vendors that they use to get the parts for their ambulance. There's been quite a large, been quite volatile for them. Some of their products have gone up 80%, or some of the items they've bought from other vendors have gone up 80% since COVID. So that is our request here, is to remount one of our existing ambulances. Again, we're trying to move our ambulances into a truck chassis, F450, F550, diesel engine, and the four-wheel drive capability. When we use the E-Series ambulances, we lose the diesel capability and we lose the four-wheel drive capability on those E-Series ambulances.
Thank you. Questions for the director?
Skylar, I know in the past, we'd always had trouble, when you have to set and idle an ambulance, such as at a football game or wherever, and the diesels didn't seem to respond very well. They've changed them enough, or what?
The one that we ran into the biggest trouble with are the turbo. Those diesels have dual turbos on them, and that's usually the one item that we had to repair the most. Idling, I don't remember being, unless I'm mistaken, I don't remember the idling being too terrible much of a problem for a diesel engine. It was more of the driving of it. Now we've kind of calmed down that driving a little bit as far as we're not running lights and sirens to every single call that we get. We're able to justify on those what, you stub your toe, lights and sirens isn't going to make a difference. If you're having difficulty breathing, cardiac arrest, lights and sirens makes a difference. So based off of what we get from dispatch, certain things we don't put that much wear and tear on the machine. Yeah, we initially anticipated that the gas engine, and that was from some information that we had got from other services about gas engines, and we thought that was a better way to go, but we haven't seen the benefit that we anticipated from it.
Other questions for Skylar? If not, motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the purchase of a remount at a cost of $179,677 to be paid from the EMS operating budget, and authorize Skylar to sign the purchase agreement.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the purchase of the remount in the amount stated, and to have the Director, Skylar Swartz, sign the purchase agreement. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just add for the public that doesn't see the packet of our information that 179 is out of a fund that has 780,000 in it.
All right, specifically, the current equipment reserve line item for EMS is presently 781, and from it, we're reducing it by 179,677, correct?
That's my understanding.
Mr. Administrator, do you agree?
Yes, the motion, though, did state from the operating budget, and that's actually from the reserve fund.
Oh,
All right, well, let's change can we withdraw the motion in the second and get the place of money?
well, let me understand. So our information is incorrect?
Alternative up here did state from the operating budget, but down below fiscal impact, it cites the equipment reserve line item.
Right, so it should have been from equipment reserve?
Correct.
Okay, I would amend my motion to say equipment reserve.
Is the second concur?
Agreed.
Very good. Then the motion before the commission is to do the remodel in the stated contract price amount of $179,677 to be paid from current equipment reserve line item for EMS.
And I apologize for the confusion.
I don't know that one necessarily goes on you, given the presentation. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Skylar. Next is on our agenda is to hear from Shruti Kabra. I believe I got the name correct finally. Just took me 15 months. I'm working on it, Shruti.
Thank you.
Dr. Selma has been good at helping me get that in my bullheaded German mind, how to pronounce the name. And we're here for a proclamation. And I would also ask the board whether we need to convene as the Board of Public Health for Finney County in making this proclamation.
I'll offer that motion, Mr. Chairman, that we recess as a county commission and reassemble as a Board of County Health.
Second?
We will take a vote on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now the Board of Health. Shruti, you have the floor.
Good morning. Shruti Chabra, Finney County Health Department. The board is asked to consider the week of April 1st, 2024 as National Public Health Week with the theme Protecting, Connecting, and Thriving. We are all public health. Every year, the board proclaims the first week as National Public Health Week and issues a call to action to all Finney County residents, and we request that the board make that proclamation and encourage Finney County residents to join in the observations with Finney County Health Department.
Questions from the local health board? not, motion?
I'll offer the motion, Mr. Chairman, but you know, tradition is that the chairman reads those proclamations.
I will before the county commission, because I'm signing in two capacities, as the
Okay.
chairman of the board of county commissioners and as the local health.
All right, I'm offering the motion to approve that resolution, proclamation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the proclamation from the county health board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to adjourn the county health board.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn as a county health board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're now back in regular session of the Board of County Commissioners. Excuse me. The proclamation reads as follows. The goal of National Public Health Week in 2024 is to recognize the contributions of public health in improving the health of the people of Finney County and achieving health equity. And whereas significant progress is made in improving the life expectancy at birth, in reducing infant and maternal mortality rates, and in reducing premature death from preventable illnesses in the United States, and whereas many of the leading causes of death for individuals in the United States result from chronic conditions which are among the most common, costly, and preventable of all health challenges, and whereas there are significant differences in the health status of individuals living in the healthiest counties and those living in the least healthy counties, including differences in obesity rates, prevalence of risk factors, and rates of infectious, chronic, and behavioral illnesses. And whereas individuals and families continue to bear disproportionate burden of illness and death based on their geography and income, race and ethnicity, gender and sexuality, and educational and occupational status. And whereas public health organizations use National Public Health Week to educate public policymakers and public health professionals on issues that are important to improving the health of the people of the United States. And whereas public health professionals help communities prevent, prepare for, mitigate, and recover from the impact of a full range of health threats, including disease outbreaks such as the COVID-19 pandemic, disasters, and public health emergencies. And whereas vaccination is one of the most significant public health achievements in history and has resulted in substantial decreases in the number of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths associated with vaccine-preventable diseases. And whereas studies show that small, strategic investments in disease prevention can result in significant savings in healthcare costs. And whereas voting helps shape the conditions in which people can be healthy, and good health is consistently positively associated with the higher likelihood of civic participation. And whereas public health professionals collaborate with partners outside of the health sector, including planners, transportation officials, education officials, private sector businesses, and community leaders, recognizing that other sectors can influence health outcomes. And whereas in communities across the United States, individuals are changing the way care for their health by avoiding tobacco, eating healthier, increasing physical activity, and preventing unintentional injuries at home and in the workplace. And whereas efforts to adequately support public health and the prevention of disease and injury can continue to transform a health system focused on treating illnesses into a health system focused on preventing disease and injury and promoting wellness. Now therefore, I, Jerry Schultz, Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners and Local Health Board in Finney County, Kansas, hereby proclaim April 1st through the 7th, 2024 as National Public Health Week in Finney County, Kansas. Motion, please.
I move that we approve this proclamation with your signature.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to make the proclamation as read. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And I extend an invitation to everybody to join us in the celebrations, and please visit the health department for an open house on Friday afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is National County Government Month, and we'll hear from Jenny Newberry Hamel, our Assistant County Administrator and Finance Director. Good morning.
Good morning.
Name for the viewing public.
Jenny Hamel, Assistant County Administrator and Finance Director. And I have before you today proclamation declaring the month of April as the National County Government Month in Finney County. This is put on by NACO, National Association of Counties, and their tagline this year is Forward Together. And also attached to your agenda, we had a flyer that it's not complete yet, but this is our draft version of it that we'll be putting out around the community to celebrate in the park on April 19th. Requesting that you would read the proclamation and declare.
All right. If I may, Commission, I'll read the proclamation and ask for your favorable vote. Forward Together. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties serving more than 330 million Americans provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas counties fulfill a vast range of responsibilities and deliver services that touch nearly every aspect of our residents' lives. And whereas Finney County and all counties take pride in our responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. And whereas under the leadership of the National Association of Counties President Mary Jo McGuire, NACO is highlighting county leadership through the lens of Forward Together, celebrating the role of county governments in connecting, inspiring, and leading as intergovernmental partners. And whereas that role includes a responsibility to inspire county residents to engage with their communities and to lead by highlighting our strength as interlocal governmental partners. And whereas each year since 1991, the National Association of Counties has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services. And whereas Finney County officials and staff throughout the county organization shall host and participate in an informational display and celebration at Stevens Park on Friday, April 19th, 2024, from 2 to 7 p.m. And with the consent be followed by the County Commission, therefore it be resolved that I, Jerry Schultz, Chairman of the Finney County Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as National County Government Month and encourage all county officials, employees, schools, residents to participate in county government celebration activities. Motion?
I would move that we adopt this proclamation with your signature, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the proclamation as read. Any further discussion?
Not discussion, but if I'm not mistaken, our administrator was in Topeka Friday, and this was a part of the county celebration in the rotunda, was it not?
That's correct,
To
Friday
kick off.
morning from 10 to 11.
So our Kansas Association of Counties statewide is engaged in this promotion as well.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question of Jenny. Have you ordered warmer weather for that day in the park?
Well, I did. I had ordered warm weather last year, and somebody bailed on me at the last minute, and we got some cold, rainy weather, but hopefully it will be warmer this year.
Commissioner Drees, would you remind them that rain's a good thing?
It is a good. Hope you get an inch and a half.
Just right after 7 o'clock.
Yes.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to tell the administrator, yourself, and all the county employees that worked very hard to make that presentation in the park last year. I thought it was done very, very well, and I want to encourage everyone to put in the same energy and effort to get our machinery and equipment and people out to where the viewing public can come take a look and see what we do.
We do have departments that are already planned in some different activities than we had last year as well. So we're working on it hard.
One of the highlights for me was to see the clerk's office out there getting people registered to vote.
That was a good
That
feature.
it is a duty for us to, at every stage, get people to participate more in our democracy. Anything else? Thank you, Jenny. I'll sign.
Thank you.
Question?
Oh, I think we ought to vote on. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on our schedule is a governance model that was in our packet and reviewed and approved last year, modifications this year. Commissioner Finney, would you point those out for us?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I've already been informed that I'm on the clock by a fellow commissioner, so I will try to go through this relatively quick, but also want to make sure that if there are any questions or discussion, we thoroughly take care of those. The first page of that document is nothing has changed. It simply states our value, or excuse me, our vision and values and some goals. I just wanted to just quickly stress on the value with regard to the values, the integrity, stewardship, customer service, collaboration, and resourcefulness. I think we as a body here take those values very seriously. We also hope that they are permeating, easy for somebody to say, the entire county staff, because trustworthiness and the best interest of taxpayers and so forth should always be at the forefront of our customer service and other things that we do here. So I would urge not just our board to be attentive to those values, but through the administrator, our entire staff as well. On the next page, the priorities and initiatives, we had a good discussion about those, and we put some of the priorities in here from a couple of different work sessions, and I don't have any changes. The only one that I would well, no, it's on the next page. We had one addition. But again, keeping in mind that we're working with these other groups with regard to legislative policies and actions, and we're still very well in tune to NACO and others. The one thing I would point out at the bottom of this page is we haven't been real diligent with regard to a formal basis on the self-evaluation of our board. And so I would encourage us to stay tuned to that, and maybe the next quarter that we start a more diligent and more deliberate self-evaluation of how we're doing as a board. And then the last page with regard to the priorities, we changed it just a little bit as far as timeframes for budget years, and we talked about this in the work session, but next 1 to 5 budget years, and then 5 years and more. And the only thing that's been added to this, as far as I believe, or that I'm aware, is at the bottom of the 1 to 5 years, we added, based on Public Works request, the non-payment durability upgrades to Jenny Barker and 6 Mile Road. So other than that, nothing has been added from what we discussed at our last work session. So with that, when it's appropriate for a motion, I would encourage us to approve this document for this calendar year.
Questions or remarks from the other commissioners? Commissioner Finney, we just heard that we are trying to get together a 10-year plan on roads from Mr. Jones. Does that need to show up any here on the 5 or more years? We have specific projects, but we don't have our 10-year revolving road plan as a goal. I don't think it needs to be revised this year. I think we need to keep it in mind that that is a goal that we need to accomplish, and put that in the hands of the administrator to formulate a 10-year plan.
In response to your question, Mr. Chairman, I don't believe anything needs to be added this year. However, I believe that shows that the staff is being diligent as far as planning ahead, and as they work on that plan, there may be pieces of that come into the 1 to 5 years or 5 years or more from a budget standpoint. The other thing that I failed to mention in my other comments is that in both of these cases, what we're saying here from the boardroom is we're saying these are the priorities as we see them. We expect staff through the administrator and the elected officials to follow these priorities for these budget years at the same time, we as board members should not be involved in the means on how to get those done as long as they stay within those budget parameters. So that's above and beyond what you asked just a minute ago, but I failed to mention that earlier.
All right, any other questions or comments from commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
We'll go from left to right. Yes, sir.
quick comment. At our work sessions, we have had discussions, particularly from the director of maintenance, that there needs to be some kind of an inventory in place on the wearability of systems in buildings. And while that's alluded to in here by building, it's not a kind of a master plan of an inventory. And not that that needs to be in this document, but it's something also like our road plan I think we need to keep in mind.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, and I would agree with that it needs to be kept in mind, and that's a good process for the staff to have. But also, I would call our attention to, these are budget years that we're trying to give direction to the staff about budgeting. I don't see that particular plan itself, it takes budget resources, but you're absolutely right. That's the right thing for staff to be doing as the public works thing as well.
Commissioner Drees, anything?
No comment. Other than the fact that he had kept that under 5 minutes and I'm
Commissioner Jones.
Quick question, self-evaluation, how do you propose doing that? Just curiosity.
Well, my viewpoint of that is, for example, we have, and I'm not saying this has happened, but just as an example, if we start getting into the weeds and we start discussing things here at the board level that belong in the hands of our administrator or belong in the hands of the elected official department heads, then I think we should openly express that here in our evaluation. If there's something legislatively that we are missing or that we should have paid attention to, and again, these are just examples, I'm not saying that that's happened, that we really very specifically focus on that, because fiscal responsibility as far as taxpayer dollars and advocacy on behalf of the taxpayers with regard to our legislature and so forth are two of our main responsibilities. If, for example, we miss something with regard to one of the 6 mandated services, that we have a discussion about that. So I just think we need to be deliberate, and I'm not saying that there will be anything to discuss every time, but I think we need to be deliberate and make sure it's on our agenda for that evaluation. How are we doing as a board?
My 10 cents in response to that, Commissioner Pishney, is that if we do it quarterly, we'll be doing it at the second meeting in June, which is a high priority budget meeting. I would much rather set that for the second meeting in September and see how we did and review it at that time as far as putting it on the agenda. Does that seem satisfactory to you?
I think that's Chairman's prerogative, but I just wanted to note that we have it in the priorities.
We'll make note of that and get it on the agenda for the second meeting in September. All right, before the board is the proposed 2024 government priorities, mission, vision, values, goals, both long-term and short-term. Is there a motion to approve this budgeting mission, vision, values, goals?
And we've got it labeled on the website as a governance model, and Mr. Chairman, I would move that we adopt this for 2024.
Is there a second?
Go ahead.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the governance model as presented. Is there any further discussion? Before we vote, I'd like to congratulate and give kudos to Commissioner Pishney for his hard work in taking the time out of the ordinary course to present this to the board for its consideration. Thank you, appreciate it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now move to the last item on our business agenda, and we need to convene as the Board of Canvassers. Is that correct? And Commissioner Finney, I'll ask you to step down. You were gone 2 weeks ago or last week, and ask Roxanne. I'll get that last name one of these days. To sit with us as the Board of Governors. Motion to approve us convening as a Board of Governors and Roxanne's appointment to the Board of Governors.
I will so move, Mr. Chairman.
It's a dual motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to convene as a Board of Canvassers with Roxanne appointed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're now meeting as the Board of Canvassers. Dory, you have a presentation to make?
So good morning, canvassers. I've asked you back here today because I need you to recertify the final results from the election. The reporting that we provided you last Monday omitted some election day votes from one precinct. We found that error shortly after the meeting and now need you to recertify. I have provided you with the new report, and I do have materials here should you wish to review those. Basically, the election day totals now include 44 votes from Ward 16 that were just omitted from the report. So, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Questions for the clerk?
Didn't change the percentage of voters though very much.
No, not really. We did hit over 4% now, though, so whoop.
Ooh. I won't embellish my comments from last time about the need for this election from our board on high called the legislature, but is there a motion to approve the election results?
How's this turnout compared to other counties? You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, it was very low. I don't know if anybody got much over 10%, but it was varied anywhere from around 4. We're always the lowest. I don't know if our rolls are pretty messy. I think a lot of it is having a community college where kids come in and register and leave and don't register, and so our voter registration numbers are inflated, and of course we can't remove them without going through a process. So we continue to work on that every year.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Motion to approve to certify the election results as reported.
It's Roxanne's turn.
I think I took my turn last time, but so moved.
Is there a second?
And I'll second.
Moved and seconded to certify the results as submitted by the clerk. And do we amend it or just recertify it?
Just recertify.
Recertify. Which is your motion, Roxanne, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Jones?
That's my second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn the Board of Canvassers.
So move.
And moved and seconded to adjourn as the Board of Canvassers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Sorry for bringing you back. We are now back in session for the regular session of the Board of County Commissioners. And next on our agenda is upcoming meetings and events. Madam Clerk?
I do have that added. I think all I added to it this time was the Kansas Infrastructure Summit that Commissioner Finney will be attending. And then we've added some items for June. We are working with Convention and Visitors Bureau to get an updated community events list for the second page of this calendar.
Any other items from the board that need to be added to our meetings or events?
I would just simply highlight the April 20th legislative coffee, not only for us as a county, but for all residents in Finney County at the Community College Endowment Room, 10 a.m.
We'll see how this wraps up. First adjournment is this Friday on the 5th.
Right.
So we'll
Right.
see how it goes, and things that continue to affect all of us at the local level is the continuing saga of the tax bill. We'll just see how it works out. Seems like they meet for 89 days and get a lot done on the 90th.
At 2 in the morning.
All right. Go on then to staff reports and our development update. We will hear from Mackenzie Phillips. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. I have one update for you this morning with Country Acres. We did meet with the developer last Friday to discuss the RHID. The RHID was not completed. So we were waiting on a few items from the developer, including the cost estimates. So he is going to be working on that, and we will be, as soon as we receive those cost estimates, we'll be working on a development plan to bring before you. So, and that's all I have for you this morning.
Questions for Ms. Phillips?
What's the time frame? Do you plan on that? Because, I've driven by that. It looks like they're ready to develop, but.
It's very close. There are a few items that we still have outstanding, such as the signage. They don't have any street signage up or any stop signs or any of the regulatory signs that are required. So we did give the developer an update on that, so he's going to be working on that as well. But it's very close to being completed. The RHID is not going to really affect the ability to start building on the lots. It's if we accept the infrastructure, that's what will determine when they can start building on the lots. So, yep.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mackenzie, totally different development, but on Randall Estates, I understood that they had sold 4 of the 16 or thereabouts. Has anybody been by there to know if they're doing anything other than what the infrastructure things were that were completed?
They have not finished the infrastructure out there yet. They're currently working on the infrastructure. So they've sold some of the lots, but they cannot start building until the infrastructure is complete.
Okay, I was misinformed then. They are not done with the infrastructure.
No, they are working on it though.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Phillips? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now hear from the county administrator, sir.
Yes, Commissioner, we do have meetings this week, staff does, with the outside agencies on the 2025 budget, so that will comprise a lot of this week's activities. I did receive an email from Alan Richardson that I should have in my inbox sometime here soon, an agreement for you to consider on the 15th. For the LEC project. So that should be coming by. Any questions of me?
Well, I just asked for you in your preparation of the 2025 budget. One of this commission's projects was to support the showcases and Joe Coles, and they're not an outside agency, but they were something that we budgeted with what I think is a substantial amount, $50,000. I'd like to do so again in 2025 and see if there's room in the budget to get that done.
Okay, we will add that initially into the budget for your consideration.
I hope I can get a majority vote on that one. Anything else for the administrator? We'll turn to the county councilor's report.
The tax sale is probably the top of your list of things as far as that goes. Still waiting for local courts to get everything put in. Just from my private practice, I can tell you that I had things from November just getting put in last week. So, and I know Mr. Schultz has said he had stuff from December. So I think they're still sort of November and December at this point, getting things in from that shutdown. So still diligently waiting for that so that we can get started on our tax sale.
I don't have the only 4-digit bar numbers like 2 of your senior partners, but I do have an 11, so the clerk does get around to mine. But We have done everything we can to encourage a responsiveness from our clerk's office. All the other judicial districts are up to speed, and most of the areas. We cannot proceed with the tax sale until we get current and accurate information so that the abstractor can certify this in order to commence the tax sale. Is that correct?
Yes,
So we need it.
yes.
All right. If it's all right with the other commissioners, I will call the chief judge to encourage that to occur. All right, county counselor, do you have a need for an executive session?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And how long do we need, Mr. Fishney?
I would say up to 30 minutes to include the commission members, county counselor, and both the administrator and assistant administrator.
All right, do you want to take that up now?
That's up to you.
All right.
If you think this is appropriate time,
I think
then
it's the right time. Good.
I would
Mr.
move that
Chairman.
we do so.
All right, hold on.
I don't mean to interrupt, but in our audience today, we have a lady that I understand is going to retire from the Holcomb administrator's position. Robin is sitting out here.Maybe we ought to bid her a farewell and good luck. So how soon do you go?
The earliest return date would be July 1, but it's going to depend on, or determined by my replacement, if I need somebody for my replacement.
Robin, would you do me a favor and come up and address the microphone, because the viewing public can't hear you, and please announce who you are so they know who you are, and Commissioner Jones can then do his
Okay.
kudos and awards.
Robin Lujan, I'm the city administrator and the city clerk for the city of Holcomb. And I've been with the city for 24 years. And not all in that position, started at the bottom. So with my capers points, I'm gonna try to retire July 1, but that will be determined on whether or not my replacement can be
You have
identified.
24 years to keep Mr. Heidman in shape as your city attorney?
Yes, I think he started just a little before me, so we're both looking at how much longer we're gonna do this, but it'll be a huge change for me, and it's a lot of anxiety and trying to determine, is this the right time, is this the right decision, but my husband has a lot to do with that.
Jones, you
so-
have the floor.
Well, the position Robin has held is one of long tenure. Your predecessor, I don't know, Carolyn was there, but a long time.
Carolyn was city clerk for, I believe, 23 years.
So it's not something that just changes frequently.
Right.
And I have a Carolyn story. We had a U.S. Census, and they showed the census count in Holcomb at, I don't remember now, 1,800 or whatever. And Carolyn said, that's not right. I can tell you exactly how many people I have, and she knew every one of them by first name.
She was a sharp lady.
And that's kind of Robin's tenure there too, knowing the people well and serving them well. So you've done a great job, and your community appreciates you.
Thank you.
Applause of the commission.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, I've got to add on to this, since I live in the community out there and drive through there daily, numerous times. And the improvements that you've made in the last 2 years are greatly appreciated, especially there on Larson Lane. And the turnout lanes there on Main Street, I think,
We have a really good council, very.
you might name your council.
Mayor, the current mayor is Nicole Faulkner. And we have Sam Mesa, who is the Director of Transportation for USD 363. We have Tyler Patterson, who works in an upper-level position in City of Garden City. We have Edna Conley, who is with the hospital. I'm not exactly sure what her position is, apologize for that. And Tim Schultz, retired Finney County Deputy, and Ron Schreibvogel, who's been on and off the governing body a few times, but they have a very good range of expertise, and they really have a good working relationship, and they have been able to accomplish a lot in a short time. So it's good. It's good.
And Mr. Chairman, I would simply add, and Ron Trivogel is the representative to Economic Development Board and has been for some time. But I want to express my appreciation because each time I've asked Robin for some assistance or we've talked about different things, she's been very receptive and very helpful. And so from my standpoint, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. Thank you, Mr.
We have, you're welcome, Commissioner. We need to have a motion to adjourn into executive session for attorney-client privilege for a period of up to 25 minutes to reconvene at 10 o'clock and include the county or the county counselor, administrator, and assistant administrator. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll be in executive session for the next 25 minutes. back into regular session.
Move reconvene as Board of Finney County Commissioners
And out of executive
out
session.
of executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to reconvene and out of executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'll confirm that no action was taken while in executive session. Thank you to the county counselor and administrators for the update on attorney-client privilege matters. I'll have to remind Roxanne that she doesn't sign on top where the chairman signs.
Oh, well.
Maybe she has bigger ideas than you think.
It could be.
It's possible.
It sure is. All right, the last thing that we have on our agenda is the commissioner reports, and we'll go right to left. Commissioner Jones.
Ooh, that's hot.
Let's see, the only thing I've got to report is, I was on the KLPG conference call, and then, I did receive a call from a county resident that was thinking about developing some properties and wanted to know about requirements on roads and things like that, and I told him to get in touch with Mackenzie, so that's what he's doing.
Well, along those same lines, Commissioner Jones, we have two separate wind farms seeking to develop in the county, and also some land that has solar leases on them. And as I recall, and as I have looked back through, we do not have any regulatory requirements on either wind farms or solar panel farms.
Conditional uses.
Right, and so at this point in time, I think our commission right now is allowing landowners to have the opportunity to develop their own properties in a manner that's reasonable and in everyone's best interest. I think that we all need to be aware of the list of questions that was proposed by the one commissioner back in eastern Kansas on that chain that we all got about both of those kinds of farms. Because it is a county's interest that when those people are done with those farms, that the best use of that land and that tax base in the future is preserved.
Well, the one that contacted me this is for residential lots he's wanting to develop, not wind or solar.
All right, I took a little bit of time and got a field there. Commissioner Pishney.
Well, and I would just, to segue from your comments, Reno County, Nemaha County, Cloud County are just a few of the counties that I know. Reno right now is wrestling with solar and so forth, so if we ever want to, we've got models out there to look at. My meeting attendance was economic development, and this last time I've been gone quite a bit. And then the meetings coming up, KCCA and the infrastructure meeting that Dory mentioned earlier. The last thing I would say is highlighting the fact that our administrator and assistant administrator are going to be doing the pre-conference session before KCCA and with regard to budgeting. So not only are they educating us about budgeting, but they're going to be able to educate other counties across the state.
Very good. Commissioner Drees.
Health Department EMS on the 20th had a fairly lengthy discussion with the architect engineer firm that's looking at that project. Lon and I were invited back that afternoon to get a summary quickly, and that project is moving forward, and I think it's going to move relatively quickly, fairly easy. It's not near as complicated project as the LEC. And then follow that up with, we have an upcoming meeting with the Health Department EMS building, and I think 11th maybe. Anyway, I'm going to call a meeting for the LEC meeting before that to kind of explain where we are and challenge my group to look at alternative, everything they can think of out of the box. Secondly, we had two Great Plains meetings this week. One was a regular monthly, and then we had a special loan review meeting following that a couple of days later. Moving along. That's it.
Our projected date for EMS, county health building, breaking ground?
We won't do that this year, I don't believe, will we, Robert, breaking ground?
At the very earliest, it would be in the winter months of this year. You'll go through approximately 6 to 9 months of plan development.
All right. Looking forward to it. Commissioner David Jones?
Won't take long to report that a week ago Wednesday, I went to Dodge City for the Southwest Kansas Highway Association meeting, and it was an interesting meeting, hearing from Ron Hall and KDOT folks. Much longer presentation on what we got from Ron Hall last meeting here. That said, I had a monthly library board meeting. It was rather routine. And then the other thing that was not routine was last Wednesday at Rotary, we had a very good speaker. Our chairman of the Board of County Commissioners spoke and did a great job, and with a lot of interest there in what Jerry had to share with them. So I was proud of him. That's it.
Thank you for the kind words. Rotary was a good experience. We laid out some things that are going on. One of the topics that was covered at Rotary was the composition of our commission. This is an election year, and two gentlemen to my left, your deadline to file for re-election is June 1st at noon.
June 3rd.
June 3rd this year. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And have you guys made a decision on what you're doing?
Yes.
And do you wish to share it, or are you going to hold us in?
I am not going to register for another term. No.
You want to consider it, or is the answer just no?
Pretty much no.
They gave him an extra couple days this year to think about it, so.
Right, Commissioner Jones?
My decision's been made, so
And that decision is?
I'm going to be a spectator, not a participant.
All right,
Has anybody filed for either position?
There have been no filings.
all right.
Yet this year.
So that's, your, is
I'll
district,
tell you the 30th of May.
all right. The district that you serve, Commissioner Dries, for everybody who's listening, just help us along.
District 3, basically everything north of 156 Highway and east of 83 Highway. And in town, between Main Street and the bypass, Kansas Avenue to Mary Street. That's the section of town that I have.
All right, Commissioner Jones?
My District 2 is about everything in the city north of Mary Street, most all of it. And then there's a 3-mile wide strip on the west side of 83 Highway running from Garden City all the way to the Scott County line, and then Terry Township up where Friend is. That entire township's in my district. So some of the boundaries got moved a little bit with an adjustment here in the edge of town, just inside the bypass. So there's a little bit that went somewhere else. It's not in District 2.
Well, one of the things that we have asked the clerk to do is to A, reduce the number of precincts, and B, to make sure that our districts, we get to do our own districting, and ask for you to propose to get those districts published before the time to seek office in those districts.
Yeah, so any people can file right now, so.
But if they don't know
That'll
what the
have-
district is, that might be a problem for filing.
Right, the district is what it is until we get it changed. That is next on our list
All right.
after this election is done.
Well, I really, really want to get rid of a bunch of precincts if possible. You know, we're standing at 74 precincts and something like that, and I know that you'll have trouble getting it down into the 20s, and the 30s is hopeful. Good luck with that, Madam Clerk. Also on the, as I told the Rotarians, is that Commissioner Finney has announced and is running for a representative seat. If he wins that election in November, he would have to resign here by the time that he's sworn in as a representative in January of 2025, which leaves the Republican Central Committee with the job of filling his unexpired term. So, Commissioner Pishton, we wish you well in your endeavor to seek that House seat presently occupied by Dr. Bill Clifford, who has announced in his running because John Dahl is retiring as our senator from the 39th district, which includes Garden City and a whole bunch of southwest Kansas. Commissioner Pishney, if he is so elected to that House seat, will have one of the most discombobbled districts to represent. Will have Kearney County, parts of Finney County, parts of Hodgman County, and parts of Pawnee County.
And just a little bit of Edwards.
Yeah, and just in case you need another precinct problem for the county clerk in Pawnee County, or excuse me, Edwards County, I misspoke. But you can see how the job of the clerk gets so complicated with how many precincts we have when the legislature overlays one House district into 5 counties. Whatever they were thinking when that was great, but for us, it makes for difficulty in controlling the number of precincts so that we don't have so many different issues at a time of election. My report is I attended and very much want to promote the work that's being done by Compass Area Mental Health. It's one of our outside agencies, our being Finney County Commission. I have the permission of the Compass Board, and I've asked Dory that when she receives electronically the formal 2023 report, that it be posted on our website. We have budgeting coming up, outside agencies, and hearing times to be scheduled. That is my report. Is there any other work? Our next scheduled meeting is April 15th. Commissioner Larry Jones and Vice Chairman, I will not be here on the 6th. You'll be in charge of holding the meetings. Will you be here, sir? All right. No, May 6th,
May
sir.
6th.
Planning on,
All right, very good.
unless something happens.
Nothing.
Keep him off the horses.
Well, yeah, and the county councilor out of a boot will not be the walking wounded. We sing you happy birthday and then your phone goes off?
Sorry about that.
Already getting birthday wishes.
Apparently, he's not the only one. Is there any other business before the county commission? If not, motion to
I
adjourn.
move we adjourn.
Second that.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.